I had to kind of give myself permission. There was a minute there where it was all about Marie Kondo and minimalism, and I have to say I'm not really a minimalist, and so sometimes I kind of worry, like, do I have too much stuff? Is it too colorful in here? Is it too crazy? And then I discovered Iris Apfel, and I was like, no, it's not.
Welcome to the Bringing Up Business podcast, where we talk about business and parenting. I am your host, Kaila Sachse, owner of marketing and creative agency Umari Digital, specializing in websites, email marketing, and more. I am also a mom of a toddler, specializing in tantrums, potty training, and getting my kid to eat at dinner time when he's not hungry, but I know that he will get hungry right before bedtime. I'm excited to chat with today's guest, Roberta Morris. She is a designer, a nonprofit educational publisher, and founder of Leave It to Berta, her freelance design firm. She will review her colorful career from Dallas to Paris to San Francisco to Memphis, Tennessee. Roberta, I'm so glad you could join me today, and welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm pleased to be here.
Yeah. So let's dive in a little bit. Tell us about your story. I mean, you've worked out of various cities. You've lived there. What's going on?
A woman on the move. I mean, I don't want to say I'm nomadic because I'm not quite to that extent. I'm not living in a van. I'm not into that. But anyway, but yeah, it's just like I'm a Sagittarius. And
Me too.
I think, yes. And that is, how Sagittarians are. We like to move around. We like to travel. We like to be in different places. So that's kind of, I think, a lot of it. Also, I think as someone who likes to travel and as someone who's in the branding and design space, it's like I don't think you're necessarily going to achieve what you need to achieve creatively if you're sort of isolated and maybe like potentially a smaller place. I find that when I'm out and about, especially in cities and in big markets, you're exposed to a lot of different people. You're exposed to the competition. You're exposed to the bigger clients, and it just like helps to groom you, I think, to be a better designer and a better creative. Because especially like when I was living in Paris, you want to talk about inspiration? It was everywhere. I mean, I originally went there. Actually, I was in Dallas. I started my career in Dallas. I was there for about 6 years, and I was working in advertising, and it was it was a lot. And I decided I needed to take a break from it. And so I went to France for a while, and it was great because I sort of went on a sabbatical, but I was also like doing my freelance work and stuff. And it was, I had more creative thoughts in that space and in that time. It was just like, it just wouldn't stop. It was like a overflowing fountain, And at some point when I came back to San Francisco, that's when I started in publishing and started working for a collaborative classroom at that time. And it was publishing and education is completely different. So that was a learning curve, learning to work in nonprofit space, learning to work in publishing and in education. And it was just very different. And that kind of kept me creatively busy. However, I think being with a firm for a long time and then also being in a market that's so expensive, I was just working like crazy, like constantly just to afford to stay. And now that I, via some personal circumstances, have ended up back in Memphis, which is my hometown, it's been great because, again, it's like there's just more room to breathe. There's more room to breathe financially. There's more room to breathe physically. And I just rented an art space actually about 10 minutes from me, and I'm setting it up real cute, everything like I do. And it is going to create, and it's like, it's again, bringing that spark that I had when I was in Paris. I feel like it started to come back. I'm actually in a group show at the Memphis Art Salon right now called Art Speaks. And that's in the Minglewood building. And it's really fun to create, but also to connect with people here. It's just a completely different vibe. People are very supportive. It doesn't have that same competitive tone to it that a lot of markets have. It's just different. And I'm really diving into it. And I've got, like, again, a ton of ideas of things that I want to create in my art space.
I love that. So if you're receiving all of this creative inspiration, how do you choose what to pursue and what is just an idea that's supposed to just flow through you and not necessarily land anywhere?
If I had an answer to that, it's really hard because before it was like, I just don't have time to do any of this. So in that sense, it was probably easier.
Yeah.
The only thing that I sort of made time to do was do a drawing class. I was studying with her name was Lael, and she was trained atelier in the atelier method, and so she trained myself and some other artists in that sort of process, which is a process. You don't just pick up a pencil and start drawing portraits. It's not like that. It's a very tedious and very methodical process. And what was great about that is it was something to do with my hands creatively, but I wasn't trying to like scratch a creative itch in the sense that like, oh my God, I have to come up with this idea and it has to be great. It was literally just drawing exercises, but it was kind of just mechanical, I guess you would say, in technique. So that was that's a completely different frame of mind. Now I'm in a space where I'm like, I want to create all these ideas. I know I'm not going to be able to do all of them, but what I'm trying to do is sort of prioritize, the series that I feel like have the most legs or the pieces that I feel like I can generate the quickest and the easiest. And then the other ideas that I have, I put in my toy box or my toolbox for later. Just I put it up for later. I take it out and play with it later, or I put it up because I don't have time for it right now. I hate to kill any ideas. Most creative people do. We suffer from a problem of having too many ideas and not enough time. So, I
Yep.
mean, maybe there's a service of selling ideas to people. Like, here's just the napkin sketch here.
Oh,
Oh,
that could
that'll
be
be that'll
fun.
be $500 or whatever.
Oh my
Maybe there's a
goodness.
business model there.
I think we're onto something here, Roberta. Yep.
I think we're on to something.
So tell us about your freelance work. What is that centered around? What is that about?
Yeah, so my freelance work is centered around mostly nonprofit and solopreneurs and small firms. Um, I kind of I kind of had my fill when I was in advertising for working, with big multinationals,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's kind of a lot. So, personally, I like interacting directly with the client, with the end client. I don't like to go through too many filters. I find that to be, it's like playing telephone, and you're never really, the satisfaction's just not there, and you never really know what the other person is promising them or not promising them or whatever. So I like having that direct communication. So when I'm working, because I have worked in nonprofits for a long time, I have several clients that are nonprofits, and then I have several that are solopreneurs, starting small businesses, and then I also do more pubs. It's like I do more book work. There's a platform that I am on called Reezy, and it's great because I've done. I mean, the projects come to me, and I've done everything from crime fiction to self-help to curriculum to children's picture books, fiction,
Wow.
nonfiction, a lot of, EPUB print. It's been a real mix, and it's been really fun.
Oh, and what is the name of that platform again? It's EPUB?
It's called Reedsy, Reedsy,
Okay,
and
got
it's
it.
it's it's only publishing.
Okay, okay, and it's a directory for clients to connect with artists?
Illustrators, typesetters, cover designer, interior designers, editors, copy editors, and the like. And so, yeah, it's like I come in as the designer, so I design. I prefer to design cover to cover. Like some people are just cover designers, some people are just interior designer, and they're like, no, like call me crazy, but like I like to be a cover to cover designer. And
Okay.
so, yeah, and like I said, I have had projects that ranged like working on one now that's like a dinosaur encyclopedia, and it's all the scientific knowledge and all the figures that go with it, and all these tables and dinosaur, bones and all this
My
stuff.
kid would love that.
I know, right? Well, this is quite a scientific and kind of elevated, but and then I'm working on a book that's about germs, and that's for kids about germs, and like how it's important to understand about the immune system. Then there's another one that I just wrapped up that was a memoir of a lady's, her mom who was part of like the military, women in the military during World War II and all of this, and it was, it's just completely different genres, completely different topics. I'm also working to one of the last notes I'll make is I'm working on a series for an author friend of mine whose name is Bill Black, and he's writing a series. Erica Banks is like this assassin, and she's like killing people, like, and it's a series, it's a series of her like doing all of the murderous things that she does. And of course I'm doing the covers, and they're all spooky and crime novelty and all this. It's fun.
How fun. So if you get a project that is in a space you've never worked in before, say the dinosaur encyclopedia, you've never worked on a dinosaur encyclopedia before, how do you get inspired? Where do you find that from?
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of it is combing through the interwebs and just seeing what other dinosaur books are out there, like seeing what people are doing, and also, of course, understanding the tone. I have worked on a dinosaur book before, actually, that was for children, and it was like a workbook and like songbook and whatever, and that had a completely different vibe. And I've done a lot of children's books, so that was kind of easy. But this one is more of a scientific anthology, and so I just looked around, seeing what other publications were out there. But then I ended up landing on something that's sort of a cross between a tome and like an encyclopedia, kind of dry. But I didn't want to be dry, so like I actually created a design that's much more. It's not a coffee table book. It's not really like that. It's a bit more, but it's got like some nice, kind of textures and a nice color palette. It's kind of earthy, and the fonts are kind of interesting. I mean, and I'm just kind of making it visually appealing so that it's not just like black and white text and figures.
Yeah, that
I didn't
sounds
want it to be too
lovely.
dry.
No, right, right. No, that sounds lovely. I'm sensing a connection between, okay, with your inspiration, you have to go out into the world. And you mentioned before that during all of your travels, the different places you lived, that was a huge source of inspiration as well, because you were out there, you were seeing what was going on. So it sounds like it's really important as an artist or even as like a freelance designer to experience more of the world instead of just living in a bubble. Would you agree? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really key, and I have clients that are from all over the world sometimes, depending on who's contacted me, and it's like I think it's really important. Also, if you're designing for another market, to understand the cultural differences, like the palettes that appeal, the type of imagery that appeals, and things like that. And then obviously Paris really inspirational for its fine arts and that sort of thing, but there was just so much cool typography and posters. There's posters everywhere that are all really groovy, and then of course like traveling in Asia, and there's like a whole other sort of cultural style there. And it's, yeah, I find that it broadens the mind, and it just gives you more to work with.
Oh man, I'm a sucker for typography. When you mentioned that, I got all excited.
I know, right?
Okay, so tell us
Type, type,
about
type, type,
a
type, type,
a
type,
a
type,
a
type, type,
a
type.
a. This is what happens when you put two Sagittarius together and who are designers. Like we have too much
I know.
fun.
What's going on?
That's the point of life, though. It's so short. Just enjoy it while we can, right? Uh,
Right.
so so tell me about your physical workspace that you work out of at any one point in time. I mean, do you pay attention to that, or does it matter to you?
It does matter. It
It
does matter.
does.
When I have worked in office environments that were like the cube, the sort of Dilbert cube situation, it's like it was not conducive to being creative. Now, I always kind of dressed my cubes up with as many, little figurines and art and colorful, desk items and things as I could. But, yeah, I was just, and it's also really hard to work creatively when you're constantly interrupted or it's just kind of an open environment. So when I've had my own space, I really do it up. I mean, I do it up. Now, currently, I'm working from home, and of course, my apartment is very creatively decorated because that's how I am. And then like I was mentioning, I just got a space, and it's going to be a dual purpose, design space and also an art space. And I've got the funky wallpaper, and I've got my art and my funky lamps, and I just got a little couch that goes in there that's kind of like this low mid-century couch, and it's got like the funky coffee table. And so when you see the spaces that I decorate and I work in, they're like, "Oh wow, that's really creative. Well, that's really cool. Oh, that's really colorful. It's really this. It's really that." And I had to kind of give myself permission because, there was a minute there where it was all about Marie Kondo and minimalism and all of this kind of stuff, and I have to say when it came to that, I'm not really a minimalist, and so sometimes I kinda worry, like, "Do I have too much stuff? Is it too colorful in here? Is it too crazy?" And then I discovered Iris Apfel, and I was like, "No, it's not."
I love it. I love that you gave yourself permission to live in a way that works for you. It's so easy for us to just fall into what everybody else is doing, the whole keeping up with the Joneses mentality. That could be a huge drag, both on our creativity, but also on our well being overall. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I treat my workspace the same way that you do. It has to feel curated. It also has to feel, for me, I need tidy because I notice that I get a brain fog when I have things laying around. And it's the same way with my external, I was about to say external world. I mean the world outside of my office. So it's like everything else. It's where my son likes to play and where my husband and I eat dinner and all of the rest of our home. Every space has an intention or a purpose. So, our living room, it hosts all the memories between my husband and I, including my son as well. All of his toys live out there. Now that sounds chaotic, but it's so nice for him to just go up and play with whatever he wants to play with. And like that's fueling his creativity because understanding that play and creativity are important for a kid's development.
But
So
yeah, 100%.
yeah, so protecting that space is important. And it also sounds like you're protecting your time too. What does your time management look like?
Well, I mean, it has not always been the best, but I'm really working on it. And what I'm trying to do now is really, I call it blocking, where I sort of segment my time where it's like, "Oh, this is work time, this is errand time, this is self-care time, this is social time," or whatever. 'Cause, working from home and then, like, I don't know, like, "Oh, I gotta run the dishwasher, and, oh, somebody's at the door, and I gotta get that package that just came, and, and then, oh, I got a meeting, and then I got these" and it's just like it was just too chaotic, and when I'm, kinda like visually, I don't like visual chaos either. It's like I'm very tidy, and, I find that mentally, when my calendar or my schedule is like that, is, like, all jumbled, it also has the same it creates the same issue for me, which is, like, that I get, like, almost like deer in the headlights, like, I just can't even think. It's like, I can't
Yeah,
think. I can't
yeah.
think. So, I call it imposing order. So, I've imposed order on my schedule, and I'm really trying very hard to bucketize. And like when the work time's done, it's done. When the play times, the social time starts and that it's all very kind of segmented like that, and there's not a lot of crossover.
Yeah, yeah. That completely checks out and resonates with me too. I find that when I have my designated work time, I tell myself, "Hey, this is the only time I get to be at my desk." I also work from home, I'm handling my things. And my clock in time and my clock out time are pretty stern. I mean, ask my husband, there are some evenings where I just want to like keep going, the creative juices flow, right? But I have to consciously tell myself like, no, that's it. Now it's family time. Got to move into the next bucket. And, there there are those mornings where you wake up and maybe you don't want to get to your desk, but that's the only time that you have blocked out. So that's that. And weekends for
Yeah.
me, weekends are off. Weekends are family time only. Nobody touches my weekends. Those are sacred. I got to spend time with my boys. So,
Oh yeah, no, that's great. I mean, I try to exercise that with weekends. There are times when I'll use some of the weekend time to play catch up, especially on my freelance projects. So I do some work on the weekends, but it's not too bad. I try to keep it, to a dull roar. But I will say that I'll probably be spending some weekend time at the art studio. Like that's going to be kind of like where, say Sunday afternoons or certain blocks of time during the week, I'm going to go there and work. And again, have a time in and a time out. But sometimes the weekend is the time that I have to do certain things, and I think it's okay to agree. I don't want to get crazy.
yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. 100%. It really boils down to, what does your life look like? How do you want it to look like? How can you
Mhm,
design your week in a way that works for you? So for
mhm.
some people, weekends are a hard no. For other people, yeah, it's completely okay to work on the weekends, take advantage of that time. It depends on how your life is structured and how you want it to be. So it's totally fine. And now, a quick message from our sponsor. Looking to take your brand, team, or event to the next level with custom gear that stands out? Virtue Screen Printing is your go-to one-stop shop for high-quality custom apparel and accessories. Whether you're launching a clothing line, gearing up your staff, or repping your squad, Virtue brings your vision to life with custom hats, shirts, hoodies, socks, beanies, and more. We're not talking cookie cutter merch. This is premium, fully customizable gear made with care and attention to detail. What makes Virtue different? It's simple. Low minimums, fast turnaround, hands-on customer service, and a passion for helping brands look good. From bold designs to subtle branding, they do it all, and they do it right. Visit virtuemfg.com to get started, or hit them up directly for a custom quote. That's virtuemfg.com, where vision meets craftsmanship. virtuemfg.com. Thank you for staying with us, and back to the show. You mentioned the art studio. Tell me more about that. What is that like? How did you find it, etc.?
Yeah. So the art studio is about 10 minutes from me. There's an arts district called Flickr Arts District. And I had been looking for an art studio off and on for several years, actually. I would look in San Francisco and, like, for $300 or $500 or something, you get like a square foot or something. Here, you could like stand up and have an easel. That's like, it was sad, and it just wasn't what I was looking for. And I've looked at co-working spaces and all these things. Have like a touchdown desk and all this stuff, but that doesn't really allow you to do like painting and whatever. So when I came to Memphis, I joined Makerspace, and I thought, oh yeah, this would be great. But the problem with the Makerspace is it's kind of far, and it's this just big shared space, and you can't really leave your mess out. You can't leave your supplies out. It's not your own space, and the storage wasn't enough for all of my supplies. So I had put my name on waiting lists around town, because you have to get on a wait list because there's not enough spaces for everybody, right? So I would get a message occasionally from this guy like, "Hey, we got a unit available. You want to see it?" And I would say, "Yes, I'd like to see it." "Oh, sorry, somebody already took it." Seriously? And that happened, I don't know, 3 or 4 times, I guess. So finally, the stars aligned, and he reached out again. I'm like, "Yes, yes, I wanna see it." And I went to see it, and I paid the deposit. Like, I'd fill out the pay like, I did it immediately because I was like, "Don't give it to somebody else. Don't do it." But it's like these old buildings. I think they might have been from, like, the war or something. They're these kinda half dome, like, corrugated metal, like, roundish kinda buildings. There's a bunch of them there. And then it's just split down the middle with a hallway, and then there's studios on each side. And so, like, one of the walls is curved, and then it's got a window, and, you know,
Cool.
it's
Well, it
fun.
sounds so inspiring. What is the purpose of having an art studio for you? What is the benefit?
I think the benefit partially is is so that I can, have all my art supplies out and do that kind of creative work that's a little messy and whatever, because I have 2 cats at home, and it's just like they get in the middle of everything, everything. I mean, papers, paint, like anything I would have, like, like scoot, 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 scoot. There goes the water with my brush in it, or whatever. It would just be it's just a mess. And also because it is a small apartment, there's not really a space to, get bust out, your creative stuff and really set up anything. I just needed that extra space, and I needed to be left alone.
Yeah, that
I'm
is
hiding.
yeah, me and you both. I'm hiding from my son right now. No, I'm just kidding. He's with his dad. I'm not being negligent. He's out there with an adult. But no, it's like, yeah, you have to have that safe space that nobody else can touch. It's yours. You could do with it as you will. You can have all that creative flow without impeding on anybody else's space. That's
It's like when you're trying to do anything like on a table with children or pets or anybody, it's just an invitation to pilfer, and it's just
1000%. Oh, yeah. So you mentioned earlier how you noticed a shift between San Francisco and Memphis, how the people shifted. They were kinder in Memphis. You had a little bit more of a community feel to that. How do you think that has impacted your work?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I was in San Francisco for 20 years, so it's not like I didn't have community there, and there are many, many lovely people there. It's a beautiful city, it's a beautiful area. But in the creative sphere, I never really, like, in the career space, like, I would connect obviously with people that I worked with, and, clients and whoever, but it wasn't like I belonged to AIGA. I never like, I went to the meetings a few times, but I never could really click with anybody, and I just never really felt like I was part of the larger creative community. And since I've been here, I mean, of course, the South is known for being polite. That's just
Mm.
part of the culture, right?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, and please, and thank you. I had to, I got schooled because I've been
Oh,
away for so long that it wasn't an automatic thing to always say, "Yes, ma'am," or "Thank you," or "Please," or whatever. And so, yeah, I've literally had to relearn to be here because it's a very different vibe. Like, if you're not polite, you're kind of a jerk.
mm,
And so, yeah, so it's forced polite. So, like, I'm polite, the politeness part of it, but also instead of that competitive edge of like, well, my art's gonna show better, or I want to get a higher price, or I'm a better designer and I'm gonna knock you out. It's not really like that. It's very much supportive. Everybody's supportive. Everybody's like part of the community. Everybody's, clapping and snapping for everybody's, spoken word or whatever, or visual pieces. It's just not. It's to the competitiveness, I think, is less, and I think it's partially because it's a smaller market. I mean, you're not. It's not New York City. It's not San Francisco. It's just different. But yeah, it's affected my work, especially my creative work. I just don't feel like I feel like I can create things and I can show them to people and not kind of brace myself that they might not like it, or they might have something negative to say about it, or it might, they're like, oh, it's not like that. It's just people really lift you up. It's like I appreciate it, and I haven't quite slid into like the yes ma'am and no ma'am. You know, I'm still not there, but like
they're
I'm
working
working
on
on
it.
it. The first
Yeah.
time somebody said yes ma'am to me, I was like, "What do you think about an old lady or something? What do you call me a ma'am?"
Who are you calling ma'am?
But I realized that everybody does it to
Yeah.
everybody, or sir, or
Oh.
whoever. You know what I mean? It's like saying absolutely, or yes, or yeah, 100%, or something like that. It's like, "Yes, ma'am."
Oh, it sounds so lovely. Oh my goodness.
It is lovely, except in the summertime
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
with
that
all the
sounds.
bugs and the heat and the humidity, but other than
Mm.
that,
Oh my goodness. So tell me about a lesson that you've learned recently, either from working with the nonprofit or working as a freelancer. What is a business lesson that you've learned?
so many business lessons I've learned through the years. I mean, one of the biggest lessons that I've learned is about communication, and especially with designers, creative people, it's really sometimes it's challenging to know how to be diplomatic or to know how to talk in a way that, it's like it's hard. It's like it's not something that came naturally to me. So I had to work with one of my previous bosses. Lisa was great. She was Lisa Bandini is her name. She is an amazing boss, and she and some other folks that have coached me, my therapist, everybody in my life has really helped me to learn. Even my boyfriend, has helped me learn to be a better communicator in all these different instances, and personal relationships and work relationships and neighbor relationships and family relationships. And it has taken me all this. I'm in my 50s. It has taken me all this time to learn communication in the right way. And that is the biggest, if you want to be successful in business, and if you want to be successful in a community, and if you want to be, you need to learn how to communicate in an effective way, in a clear way, but in a respectful and diplomatic way. It's, you know what I mean? It's like, it's a very delicate balance to get to be polite and to put it out there the way it needs to be put out there, but to also be clear.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
It's
yes.
like,
Yeah, yeah, you could be almost too nice. I'm putting it in air quotes, too nice
mm,
to the point where people don't understand what you're actually asking for. Or if you don't word something directly, you're just kind of tiptoeing around it, they're not going to pick up what you're putting down, right? You have to,
not going to pick up what you're putting down, and it's also going to leave you open to being like either taken advantage of or misunderstood or whatever. And it's just, and especially in the creative industry too, in any work situation or personal situation, boundaries are really important. And that was really, you want to talk about a hard lesson to learn, like learning boundaries around my time management, around not, responding in a millisecond when somebody pings me about something. It's just like, it's that blocking. If somebody pings you over here, like, I need this thing, and you're just like, well, but I'm in the middle of this thing right now. Like, it's all about the balance. And it's like, you can't just run back and forth like that. It's like, you have to have like a process. And so I have worked really hard to communicate to people, this is when you can expect this thing. This is when I'm available. And I just don't answer, like at some funky hour of the whatever day or the weekends or something. I tend not to answer on those
yes.
days, right?
Yes, it's you bring up spoken boundaries where you're saying, "Hey, I am not able to do this right now, but what I can do is get it by XYZ date and time." And then you also have the unspoken boundaries that you are setting. I would say, well, it could be intentional or unintentional by not responding on the downtime that you want to maintain for yourself. And it is the same thing with parenting too, right? So if my toddler comes up to me with the whiny, I want crackers, I want, I won't respond because I want him to know that he needs to communicate calmly, clearly, and as you put it, diplomatically. Because if he's not going to be calm and clear about what he needs, the world isn't going to respond well to him.
Nope. Nope.
Period.
I've
Dot.
even here's I was having this conversation with some of my colleagues. I belong to this bonfire group, and we're a community online, and we chat. And the guy who runs it, his name is Philip Van Dusen. So I'm doing all the name dropping, to talk. I'm lifting up all my peeps.
Yeah, as we
But we
should,
were
as
just
we should.
we were having a whole conversation about AI and using AI, and I use it a lot myself. And we were discussing the fact that if you ask AI to do something, it'll give you it'll give you like, whatever you ask for. If you ask it nicely, it'll give you a better result.
Interesting. I wonder what the data is on that. That sounds
That's
fascinating.
supposedly a thing. It's like, if you ask nicely, it will give you a better result. And in fact, I actually exercised that, and I was asking it nicely, can you please? And, oh, this is great. I would like to see more of this. And it actually responds more politely.
How funny. So it's
Right?
not just
It'll
a
say,
nicety, it's a necessity.
Yeah, it'll actually respond nicely. It's like if you say, "Oh, that was really great. I'd like to see it a little bit more like this." "Oh, great. I'm really glad you liked what I gave you. Let me try it more this way," or so, you know what I mean? Like it's actually talking to you. Like
It almost
it
sounds
was
like AI
really
is
interesting.
mirroring you. That,
Yes.
that social concept of mirroring, where if we see someone and we want to be on the same page as them and want them to feel like they're on the same page with us, we mirror their actions, their facial expressions, their tonality, their all of the things. And that actually helps our brains to sync together and feel like we are a team.
Yeah, yeah, it really does, and it's like that mirroring, and again, that's kind of part of communication too. It's like I also use humor and kind of funny facial like I try to put people at their ease. That's kind of one of my techniques, right? And then I try to use humor and whatever, and it's like I just do that. It's like now, does it work 100% of the time? No. There are still some people that just aren't, really responsive to that style of communication, and you have to like come down like a hammer. That does happen sometimes, but it's a little more unusual. I mean, it's not I don't think I would experience that nearly as much as I used to, especially early in my career.
How interesting. Wow. I'm so glad that you brought up communication, because communication really is foundational to business and to just enjoying our relationships as a whole. If we're better able to
Yeah.
communicate with each other and enjoy each other, then that's the goal, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Oh, this has been such a fun chat. What is a piece of advice that you would give to someone who wants to get into freelance, either full-time, side hustle, whatever it is?
Yeah, yeah. So part of it is work your network. I mean, like word of mouth is much more reliable, I would say, than trying to do like cold calling and all this kind of stuff. And no, you can do SEO and you can do social and you can put yourself out there on LinkedIn and post and reply and do all the things that kind of get noticed. But if you work your network, I think that is a really good way to kind of get at least get started. And I would say also find your niche. Generalists struggle, I think. I mean, do I do a lot of different kinds of design? Yes, but I say branding, it's the story. Like branding is the story,
Mhm.
and that's the story that I tell. And because I do that, it's not as confusing to people as and like offering like 10 different services.
Yeah.
It's like, let's just boil it down. And then also I think trying to figure out who, of course, networking and, business groups and whatever, but also who's your client? I tried it so hard to do like tech companies and startups and all this stuff, and it wasn't a good fit. And so I think for me, the solopreneur nonprofit space has worked for me. And it's like find your space. So
Yeah, yeah. And it seems like the best way to figure out what your space is to just go out there and just start trying it and experiment. And eventually you'll figure out, okay, this is working for me, this isn't working for me.
yeah, or like what do you do best? If you
Yeah.
already have a career as a designer and you want to freelance rather than being full time or something like that, then yeah, I mean it's harder, obviously. It's like chicken and feathers, you know.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah.
you again, it's like you just have to work you have to kind of always be what was the movie Always Be Closing?
Yeah. Well, that's a great advice. Use your network, niche down, figure out what works for you, because that's how you're going to produce your best work.
Yeah, and figure out
Yeah,
who your client is. Figure out who your clients are.
definitely. Love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Roberta, where can people find you?
So they can find me at leaveittoberta.com, like Leave It to Beaver, but Leave It to Berta.com. And my art venture is funomatics.com. funomatics.com. Funomatics, plural.com.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being on the show with me. I look forward to the next time we chat, whenever that will be, hopefully soon.
All righty.
All right. Thank you for joining us on Bringing Up Business. If you could, please take a moment to subscribe to and rate the podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow us on Instagram at bub.podcast. That's bub.podcast. Finally, we'd love to get your feedback. If you have a comment or a guest idea, please let us know on our website, bringingupbusiness.com. Until next time, thanks for joining us. Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Say bye-bye. See you later.
Bye-bye. See you later.
This recording is for informational purposes only and should not be considered business advice. Opinions expressed are as of the date of recording and are subject to change without notice. The views and opinions of guests on this program are not necessarily those of Umari Digital and its affiliates, which together we refer to as Umari Digital. Umari Digital is not affiliated with guests or their business affiliates unless otherwise stated. Umari Digital does not guarantee the accuracy or the completeness of the data presented herein. This recording is for informational purposes only, and the information, data, analysis, or opinion it includes or their use should not be considered business, financial, or legal advice. Umari Digital shall not be responsible for any decisions, damages, or other losses resulting from or related to the information, data, analysis, or opinions or their use. All business decisions are subject to risk, including possible loss of capital. Individuals should seriously consider if a decision is suitable for them by referencing their own financial position. Thank you.